The Norwegian newspaper Aftenposten reports today police sources have confirmed that hours before Anders Behring Breivik launched his deadly attack at a political summer camp on Utoya Island on July 22, police had conducted a drill for a practically identical scenario. Sources within the top-level management of the police in Oslo have confirmed to Aftenposten that the drill finished at about 3 o'clock that same Friday, the newspaper reports. All of the officers from the anti-terror unit that later took part at the bomb site at the government buildings and went out to Utoya to apprehend Anders Behring Breivik had been training on the exact same scenario earlier that same day and in the days preceding, writes Andreas Bakker Force. The bomb attributed to Breivik went off only 26 minutes before the anti-terror drill finished, according to officials. Norwegian police characterized the very similar drill and its chronological proximity to the practically identical scenario as a coincidence. Such coincidences are now routine during terror events. On September the 11th, 2001, the Air Force conducted the Vigilant Guardian, Vigilant Warrior, Northern Guardian and Northern Vigilance exercises. NORAD had trained for a scenario simulating a crash into a building. Military officials insisted the buildings involved in the exercise were not the WTC or the Pentagon, although the actual buildings remained classified. The secretive National Reconnaissance Office also held the plane crash scenario on September the 11th, 2001. On July 7th, 2005, Peter Power, Managing Director of Visor Consultants, a private firm on contract to the London Metropolitan Police, organized a bombing scenario that coincided with the 7/7 London bombings. At 9:30 this morning, we were actually running an exercise for a company of over 1,000 people in London, based on simultaneous bombs going off precisely at the railway stations where it happened this morning. So I still have the hairs on the back of my neck standing up right now, Power told the BBC. On July 24, Webster Tarpley noted that the Norwegian terror attack provided a telltale critical sign of a false flag operation is the holding of drills or exercises allegedly for counter-terrorism purposes by the police or the military at the same time as the terror attack or shortly before the real terror attack begins. Tarpley continues, once the drill has occurred, the capabilities, hardware, etc. which is created can remain in place to be mobilized at the desired moment. The secret is that the legally sanctioned bill has been used to conduit or bootleg the actual butchery through a government bureaucracy whose resources are required to run the terror, but in which there are many officials who cannot be allowed to know what is happening. The Norwegian police have underscored the probability that the bombing of government buildings in Oslo and the meticulous slaughter at a summer camp were false flag events. It is unlikely the corporate media in the United States or the rest of the world will report on the suspiciously timed exercises in Norway. It is even less likely that they will draw the conclusion the events represent a false flag event engineered to keep the bogus war on manufactured terror alive and add hysteria to the pell-mell rush to construct a global surveillance and police state grid. This is your government talking. Nothing to see here. Go back home, turn on the TV. We've got everything under control.